Oh, snap. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. My name's Patrick. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. True Crime Lives every single night. And if you were already waiting, go ahead and tap the thumbs up button, y'all. Come on, hit me with some thumbs up. We got almost 30 likes right now. We just started. So everybody watching, thumbs up. Let's go. I appreciate it. Let's get 100 of those bad boys. Mica Miller, more craziness in this story, y'all. Oh my God. We're going to be watching Not My Cup of Tea. For all of the tea, thank you. She popped in yesterday. The iPhone guru, Agatha May. Yes, she's got a new one. Let's go. Not by Sight News and JLR Investigates, y'all. Full docket of videos to check out tonight. I hope you guys are ready. TikTok, hit thumbs up, tap the screen like crazy, hit the follow button, and let's jump into this. This one was, is JP Miller a spiritual manipulator?
How dare you?
Let's find out together, y'all. Ready? Let's go.
6 tactics of a spiritual manipulator. 1. Anchoring, relying heavily on one thing to get someone to make a decision. So let's say we have a pastor, and this pastor may or may not be a spiritual manipulator, but they need money. They may anchor the fact that they need money on someone else's good deed, say funding a school in Africa. However, these funds may not ever go to the school in Africa. Number 2 is an oldie but goodie.
I wonder who she's talking about.
Always the victim. The exaggeration or complete fabrication of victimhood to try to get their way. Now let's say we have a leader of a church, and this leader may or may not have just been exposed for infidelity within their marriage.
Oh, damn. And then they go on the floor or on the grass.
They may lay on the lawn and whimper. Everything that they can do to be the victim and to pull out the victim card so that the attention is now off of you and onto them. Number 3, charm and humor. Smiling and laughing is one of the quickest ways for someone to get you to let your guards down. So let's say that we have a spiritual advisor of a church, and they are making inappropriate comments about the mental health of their wife. Sometimes all they have to do is make a joke and put on a little charm for some people to forget about it and wave it off. Number 4, preying on the youth. Often it is much easier to manipulate and use intellectual bullying on the youth. So let's say that we have an elder of the church. They may see the youth as moldable clay, and they could take this clay and create the ideologies in this person's mind that they wish. Number 5, time snatchers. Time snatchers try to monopolize all of your time to do things that usually benefit them. So let's say that we have a spiritual guider of a church. They may or may not try to make you feel indebted to them so that you give up all your free and personal time. And by that, they have all of your attention. And most times they won't even give you credit for the things that you do. 6,
oh my God.
Cherry picking scriptures. This is when they use scripture, oftentimes incorrectly, to justify behavior and thought. So let's say that we have a preacher of a church. This preacher may be a spiritual manipulator, but this spiritual manipulator may also be a serial cheater that cheats on all of their wives. They may use scripture and pick and choose what they want to justify their behavior.
Look at the top of that sketch. It says sketchy Christian.
And silence the church. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are raving wolves.
Oh, damn. Not my cup of tea. Make sure you follow her, y'all. The link is in the description. YouTube, everybody watching, hit the thumbs up button. TikTok, tap the screen like crazy. Hit the follow button if you're new here. Thanks for the little gnome dudes. I appreciate the love, y'all. And if you want to come watch the video with us, we're on YouTube right now. Just search The Mystery Project over on YouTube. You'll find it. Come on in. You guys ready? Let's keep on going. Actually, what's next? Let's look. Let me look. Let me do a little look-ski. The iPhone guru. Okay, yeah, he was at Market Commons. So let's take a look. Let's see what's going on around there. They had a potluck, remember? Whoa.
What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, so as y'all pop in here, if we're sitting across from the church. Oh, my screen is a little dirty. Let me clear it off real quick. Did it help any or make it worse? Probably worse, right? Yeah. All right, so. So we're over here. I had to do a phone here at the up here, so I'm at the customer here. But as you can see, we got the potluck dinner going on across the street. Guess what? No protesters, but it is raining and thundering and lightning out here. Someone told me earlier this week that they pulled the fencing down. That is not true. They have not pulled the fencing down at all. It's still up everywhere. They also have the trailer park there. He has moved the white Honda. It's no longer sitting there. But the barriers are still up, even though I was told that they were already taken down.
Ooh,
and
damn.
The trailer's still up, of course. And there's people pulling in for their potluck dinner. I'm kind of upset I wasn't invited. You know, what the crud? What's going on? I ain't getting no potluck dinner invite. Nah, I'm not trying to die like that. But,
Church.
I finally got Courtney out here with me. She's sitting and hiding in the car. Let's see if she'll wave. She ain't gonna wave.
Is that a Mini Cooper?
Oh, she's posting though. But the barricades are still up, everybody. It looks like these barricades have been moved all the way up to the edge of the road, so you can't stand on the other side. And the same way with the ones on the other side, they're moved right up to the edge of the road all the way down. It's not splitting in through the grass anymore. So it looks like it's making it more safe for the protesters to stand in the grass over there. Here, let's just walk over there. So before these barriers were in the middle, so there was no place to stand on that side. Now they're right along the edge, which is a good thing.
Winter Moon, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because the protesters can be on this side here. The protesters can be on this side and be safe from falling out into traffic. There's JP here. No, there's only about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars here. His car's not one of them. What? But the barriers are still up, and the trailer's still there blocking the view. But they have been situated in a better spot, which is a good thing. You can see it's right along the edge of the road now, so protesters don't fall out in the road. But I just wanted to bring you all this quick update, let you know what was going on. And y'all missed the potluck dinner.
Damn.
We'll see y'all either later on tonight or tomorrow. Oh, I have a show tomorrow, a truck show. So I'll be going live during that. That's from like 12 to 5 or something other. So I'll go live sometime in there. And I'll catch y'all later. See, we got more people pulling in over here. But y'all have a good night.
Oh my gosh. Little potluck action. All right, y'all. It's time. Agatha May, she's done it again. Here we go. YouTube, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Y'all hit the thumbs up button. Come on, we got 56 likes. We need at least 100 likes. We got over 100 people watching. Everybody, go ahead and just give it a little thumbs up. TikTok, hit the follow button. Tap the screen like crazy. And if you want to watch the video, come on over. The Mystery Project on YouTube. Thanks for the little gnome dude thingies, too. That's what TikTok wants tonight. Thank you for the love. Subscribe. Join the channel if you want to help support it. Do all the things. All right, let's keep going. Agatha May. Oh, Agatha. Let's do this.
Welcome to, or welcome back to, the Agatha May Detective Agency. I'm Agatha May, and in this video, we're looking at 2 leftovers and a lawyer. The leftovers are 2 of the remaining congregants at Solid Rock Church. These 2 leftovers will be the only remaining church members I discuss, other than Nicholas Janae. I was going to include Nicky in this video, but I've decided he is special enough to have one of his very own. For those of you who were convinced I was just going to run a list of names of remaining congregants and didn't want to listen to me when I repeatedly said that wasn't my intent, this video is dedicated to you. We're going to start with the lawyer, Tom Winslow, because he's going to be the most disappointing of the group. And if we
Oh, man.
start with you being disappointed, we can only go up from there, right? Tom Winslow was born in 1980 to Bill and Janet Winslow. Now, Bill, Janet, and Tom sound like the characters in a 1960s scholastic book about 3 friends who solve mysteries using only a flashlight that consistently has a low battery, a small
There you
notebook,
go.
a half
Oh, shout out to CJ in the house. Crime Concepts. What's up, man? What's up, buddy? The barriers were down a couple days ago. When I went back, they put them back up. Oh, man.
chewed pencil,
Crazy, y'all. Make sure you follow. Give us CJ Crime Concepts a subscribe over on the YouTube and TikTok. Come over to YouTube. Come out.
and a magnifying glass. Tom went to Irmo High School in Columbia, South Carolina, and graduated in 1998. I'm not sure what he did in high school other than being in the Irmo High School Air Force JROTC and meeting his wife Lauren. She wasn't his wife at the time, though. That would make his story too interesting, and we can't have that. Tom went on to study law at the University of South Carolina and Loyola University at New Orleans, at which point Tom decided his brain couldn't hold any more learning, and he
Learning. Bridget, thank you for the Cash App. Thank you. A little bit of coffee on Bridget. Thank you so much, Bridget. Very sweet, y'all. TheHauntedSide.com if you want to support the show directly. You don't have to, but I appreciate the hell out of it. Bridget, cheers. Even though on YouTube my cup is green, so it disappears. I disappear. All right, let's keep going.
commenced lawyering. Tom somehow talked Lauren into marrying him in 2005. In 2012, Tom decided to give politics a try and ran for the South Carolina House of Representatives, but only 23% of the voters wanted him to represent them.
Damn.
He then tried to nab a spot on the Georgetown, South Carolina City Council in 2015, but he came in last. I don't think Tom is cut out for a career in politics.
The way she said
Between his political failures, Tom decided his brain really could hold a little more knowledge, and he went to Charleston School of Law. Tom's career eventually led him to become partners with Stephen Goldfinch, who is an actual person and not a cute, diminutive yellow bird. In 2021, according to Tom, Stephen broke up the dynamic duo to pursue politics, even though he was already a politician. I think the breakup resulted from something more like Goldfinch telling Tom that his shoes didn't match his suit, and then Tom told Goldie that he had split ends, and a slapping fight began, and they haven't spoken since. So Tom is practicing law sans the little yellow bird, and some friends of his invited him to Solid Rock Church. I'd start rethinking my choice of friends at that point. Like Baked Tater Susie and our almost Spanish senorita Tricia, Tom was also the star of a blog post on Solid Rock Church's website. And like the others, it was removed once Mica's death started making the news.
Oh, man. Dana, thank you.
So, of course, I tracked it down and found the post. But man, was it Snoresville. Seriously. Tom is making
Snoresville.
Susie look like a little firecracker with the flashiest jazz hands you've ever seen. The post was written in February of this year, and Tom stated that he was currently working on his associates in theology. I swear, if he is taking classes at Reggie Miller's Buy My Books and I'll Give You a Degree School of Ever-Changing Names, Tom needs to go sit in the corner and think about what he's done. Now, there have been at least 3,259 people talking about how they are convinced that Tom Winslow had something to do with Mica's death. I'm not convinced. Let's start with Tom's property that people thought was a big aha moment. His property butts up against the creek that leads to the river that runs through the park where Mica was found. His property line is 8 miles as the crow flies to Lumber State Park, and his property is that small green section where the arrow is pointing. So let's pretend that the creek that comes from his property runs a straight line and is actually navigable and that a kayaker could paddle down to the park. It would take them almost 3 hours to get there, and that's if they were paddling the entire time. But this creek isn't even slightly straight. It's extremely crooked. In fact, it's so crooked, it should be named Miller Creek.
Oh, I got you. Wow. Let's go.
I will never get tired of naming crappy things after the Millers. So instead of taking almost 3 hours to make it to the park, it's...
Oh, man. You know they're going to end up seeing this going,
emotional damage.
It's going to take much, much, much longer. I could be more exact if I had an instrument to measure the meandering length of the creek, but I don't, so much, much, much longer will have to do. So Tom's property being on the South Carolina state line in a county that is just one over from where he lives isn't such a big deal to me. I don't think Tom and JP have the kind of connection that would cause him to be an accessory, or worse, to murder. They haven't been connected long enough. Now, some might say that JP has something on him and that's why Tom would do it. But JP doesn't go after someone who can fight back. An attorney would know how to fight back and would have the upper hand when it comes to JP. John Paul preys on
she made him hella small.
the weak. Now, I've heard some say that Tom Winslow is slimy, and that's certainly possible. He is an attorney, after all. There has been much said about Mica's healthcare power of attorney. Now, there is a discrepancy between the date it was witnessed and the date that Mica signed it. It was witnessed on November 28th, 2022, and she signed it on December 5th, 2022. From what I understand, she was admitted to the hospital on November 28th, 2022, and released on December 5th, 2022. That could explain the discrepancy. And I don't know that the discrepancy of dates would invalidate the document. I think Tom Winslow has been an attorney long enough to not let something like this slip by, especially if he was doing something dodgy. Also, there were early reports that it wasn't notarized until the day after Mica signed it. But the date of the notarization is the same date that Mica signed it. I've also seen claims that John Paul waited until March of this year to file the document with the court, but the receipt for the filing shows that Mica is the customer. And the healthcare POA would have still been in effect even if it wasn't filed with the court. From what I understand, they are executable from the moment they're signed. My opinion is that Mica filed it because it states that if she and John Paul are divorced or are separated, the power of attorney is null and void and would revert to the alternate agent, who was her brother. I have discovered that Regina Ward, the attorney representing Mica's family, served Tom Winslow with papers of some kind on the 8th of this month. It will be interesting to see what that's about, but I think it's more than likely about John Paul's finances.
Ooh.
There is one interesting thing, though, about Tom.
Britt, thank you. Thank you. YouTube. We don't have 100 likes yet. Come on, we got 130 people watching. Everybody hit the thumbs up real quick. TikTok, hit the follow button. Tap the screen like crazy. Britt, thanks for the gnome things. And Susanna, thank you. Y'all come see the video. If you want to watch the video with us, we're live on YouTube. Just search The Mystery Project. The Mystery Project on YouTube. You can find the channel, subscribe, and join the live stream.
He wrote a children's book titled Firefly Forest. It looks to be as scintillating as Tom is. The most fascinating thing surrounding him authoring a book, and possibly the most fascinating thing about Tom, is that in the About the Author section, Tom wrote that he is a together with a capital T. A together. Is this a reference to something in the book? Is it some weird way to say he's in a relationship? Is it a term coined by the same kooky couples counselor that taught Gwyneth Paltrow the term uncoupling as a euphemism for divorce? Can you tell how tragically unhip I am when I have to reference Gwyneth Paltrow events from a decade ago? Like Susie Skinner using the term we, did Tom absorb a twin in the womb and that's why he refers to himself as a together? Why do all these people refer to themselves in plural? Does anyone know what a together means? Is Tom an alien? Well, that's enough of that.
She said it's Tom an alien. Put him in a damn spaceship. Agatha, please. Come join this live stream right now.
Bruh.
Please. I need you in here. Let's keep going.
Speaking of kooky, in 1957, the word kooky made its debut in print for the first time ever. And 1957 was coincidentally the year that Robert the Water Boy Lochel made his debut into the world. Now, I've heard people pronouncing his last name Lochel, but I think the correct pronunciation should be Lochel. It doesn't really matter because I'm just going to call him variations of Bob. For those who don't know,
Variations of Bob.
Bob is one of the remaining Solid Rock Church congregants.
Oh.
Now, his arrival into the world in 1957 made his parents, Frank and Florence, at least marginally proud. Frank and Florence's first son was named
Marginally proud.
He needs some milk.
Frank, and I'm heavily disappointed that they didn't name Bobby something like Flamingo or Frittata or Funyun, just to keep with the F-name theme.
Funyun.
Fun fact, Robert's middle name is Wayne. Viewer Liz H. 1988 commented on one of Reggie's videos about how many murderers had the middle name Wayne. I looked it up, and it's quite extensive, and this isn't even the full list. Now, I'm not in any way insinuating that Bobby is a murderer, just that he shares a common middle name with a lot of them. As a child, Bobby was in the Boy Scouts in Penwyn, Pennsylvania, and I don't know how well he learned to tie a double-sheet bend knot, but he definitely got the hang of using a sprinkler as an implement to commit assault and battery. I didn't even know they taught that in the Scouts. Bob attended several schools in Pennsylvania, including Lower Merion High School, Delaware County Christian School, and Harriton High School. He then studied at the Art Institute of Philadelphia. Now, I don't know if he had to attend 3 high schools because his family moved that much, or if he was getting into trouble, or maybe it just took him so long to finish high school he needed variety. Speaking of education, Bobby's brother Frank seems to have gotten the brains in the family. He died in 2021 but held numerous patents for things I know nothing about. Things such as an aqueous binder comprising reaction products of itaconic acid. Well, sure, Frank. Bob and Frank also have a sister. She sadly does not have a name that begins with F either, even though Frank Sr., Florence, Frank Jr., Funyun, and Fluffy would have been fabulous family names. As an adult, Bob lived in the Philadelphia metro area, the land of Quakers, brotherly love, and cheesesteaks.
And cheesesteaks. Agatha Bay is hilarious, y'all. It's unreal. Unreal.
He worked at a car repair shop, but I don't think he got his hands dirty actually working on the cars, though. He seems more the type to try and sell unnecessary repairs. Bob was married to Brenda, and she divorced him for probably a number of reasons. Baba Fur soon grew tired of being mistaken for a Quaker and moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where no Quaker dares to step foot. His move to South Carolina found Bob to be the proud owner of multiple traffic tickets, as well as being arrested for driving more than 25 miles an hour over the speed limit while having an open container of his favorite adult beverage along for the ride with him.
Oh, hell no.
Well, it sounds like old Bobby could lead a class on safe driving. After spraying 5 of the protesters at Solid Rock Church in the face with water, Bob can now add 5 counts of assault to his record.
I can't handle Agatha May.
I'm pretty
He's incredible.
sure he now has more arrests on his record than Frank had patents. Way to go, Bobbert.
Bobbert.
Bob became a member of Solid Rock Church in 2020, seemingly of his own accord. He married Bonnie Laudenslager in May of this year,
Whoa.
and last month they bought a house together. Bob seems to like women whose name starts with B. And he loves Bonnie so much that he commits assaults for her. He said he sprayed the protesters because his wife was upset. Personally, I think Bonnie needs to find a little backbone and commit her own assaults. And Bobifer needs to be honest and say he sprayed the protesters because they annoyed him. There are reports that Solid Rock Church gave Bob a large sum of money after he had been hospitalized. So, was it a gift and Bobby feels beholden to John Paul because of it? Or was it a loan and he's having to pay it back to the church? Maybe he's loyal because of the perk of being able to cop 5 charges of assault and have someone named John Paul Miller pay for his attorney. Whatever the reason, Bobby is loyal to John Paul, and so far seems more than willing to go down with the ship. And now for a leftover that isn't as wrinkly as Bob, let's turn our attention to Mark, the piano is my whole personality, Kaufman. Mark was born in 1971 to Ron and Mary Jane in Baltimore, Maryland, home of crab cakes and hairspray. When
Oh, Lord.
Mark was 5, the family moved to Myrtle Beach. As a child, Mark was in local theater and stole the stage in every performance. I don't know if that last bit is actually true, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Also, does anyone else think he looks a lot like Adam Rich, who played Nicholas on 8 is Enough? Mark graduated from Sikorsky High School in 1989 and then attended Coastal Carolina College for 2 years as a music major. But he said the classes weren't challenging enough, so he quit. He was quoted as saying, quote, "Once I hear a song one time, I can usually play it. Reading music helps because I can see what I'm playing, but I don't need it." End quote. Mark played the piano around town during the early 90s, and in 1993 became the musician at the Dixie Belle Saloon at Dixie Stampede in Myrtle Beach. Well, how is that for a rootin' tootin' yeehaw? While jamming out on 1890s saloon music, Mark was repeatedly annoyed by a popcorn server at the Stampede, whose name was John Paul Miller. Yes, JP and Mark first met over a bag of popcorn that smelled slightly of wheat straw and horse manure. According to the Solid Rock Church website, Mark wasn't impressed when he first met John Paul. Quote, "JP was amazed by Kaufman's skills with the ivories, but Mark wanted nothing to do with the younger employee." End quote.
Whoa.
In 1995, Mark was in a band named Soul Dogs, spelled DAWGS. Now, this information lends nothing important to the story, other than to show that Mark is the kind of person who uses the word dog. In 1996, Mark started playing at Crocodile Rocks, and John Paul used to go harass him there too. But Mark still wasn't interested in being friends with Monkey Boy. No means no, John Paul. Let's take a break in the timeline to discuss who actually owns Crocodile Rocks. Now, the original owners of the club were Burroughs and Chapin in 1995, even though the idea to start the club was Craig Smith's. In 1997, B&C sold it to a group of Grand Strand businessmen operating under the corporate names Flipside 2 and Flipside 3. Craig Smith is the agent for the Flipside groups and is named numerous times in newspapers as owner of Crocodile Rocks. He also is the agent for Flipside 4, Flipside 5, and Flipside 6. Flipside 2 and 3 have since dissolved, but 4, 5, and 6 are still in good standing with the South Carolina Secretary of State's office. Why so many Flipsides? Marty Richardson is a former co-owner of Crocodile Rocks, and he left in 2006. Mark Kaufman was listed as entertainment coordinator in 2011, but by 2020 was named as an owner. There is no mention of John Paul Miller as owner of Crocodile Rocks anywhere I can find. I don't know where the information that he was an owner and transferred his ownership to his son came from, but I would love to see the proof of that if anyone has it. The owners of Crocodile Rocks also own Revolutions, which is a dance club. Fun little story about Revolutions.
Oh.
In 2000, they raised money for the Myrtle Beach Fire Department by hosting the 4th annual ham rubbing. The fire department politely declined the donation when they discovered that the ham rubbing was a private party where partygoers were invited to dance while hams were rubbed on their bare chest.
You what?
What the hell are they talking about?
How dare you?
Craig Smith was quoted as saying, quote, "If somebody goes up there and pulls their shirt up, it's all in good taste. It's not like a strip bar."
What the flip?
End quote. You're right, Craig. It's not like a strip bar, because strip clubs don't allow patrons to rub cured meat on the strippers. I don't know, Craig.
Oh, Agatha May
Smith. But the fact that he thinks people rubbing ham on other people's bare chest is in good taste tells me everything I need to know about him. And for the love of all things holy, why is a ham rubbing even a thing? For starters, ham has a lot of salt in it, and that can't be good for the nips. Not to mention the fact that I
the nips.
never want to see a ham rubbed on anyone's chest, even if they're particularly perky. But I definitely don't want to see one rubbed on some old saggy man boobs. This is who Mark Kaufman chose to go into business with on purpose.
Wow.
Let's continue our break in the timeline and talk about Mark's
The fireman literally said, "Nah, we good."
love life for a minute. Like Bobbert marrying women whose name starts with B, Mark loves the ladies whose names start with a K sound. Maybe he's just crazy about alliteration and insists on the K for Kaufman. His first wife, Courtney, was only 4 years his junior. They divorced in 2006,
Angie, thank you.
and in 2009, Mark had a son with Carrie, who wasn't his wife and was 12 years his junior.
Ooh.
Mark's second wife, Caitlin, was 23 years his junior. They're now
Dear.
divorced,
Oh.
and Mark is waiting for his next wife, probably named Cotillion or Catamaran, to turn 18 so they can get married. Back to the timeline. Now we veered off when Mark began playing at Crocodile Rocks in '96, and Monkey Boy was stalking him. Through the first decade of the 21st century, John Paul persistently hounded Mark into coming to church, and Mark consistently turned him down. Now the story is that in 2015, John Paul had stopped preaching, but I haven't found any proof of that. I think it's just a story John Paul uses to explain why a large portion of his congregation left after he and Allison's divorce, because that sounds better than saying that congregants left because they found out he was having inappropriate interactions with underage girls who attended his church. Anyway, the story is that Mark told John Paul that if he'd go back to preaching, he would come and play the piano and sing at the church. This is when the parodies at the church were started. JP
Oh man, TJ, thank you.
said that Mark didn't know any contemporary Christian music, but he knew all the secular music from playing at piano bars. So Mark, who was so good at music he didn't need to go to college and could play a song after hearing it once and could read music, couldn't manage to play any gospel songs. That is sad that his fingers won't work when it comes to playing church music.
Real at heart, thank you.
I wonder if there's a name for his condition.
Wendy, thank you.
Like others in the circle of shame, Mark isn't afraid of getting a traffic ticket or 30. That's right, Mark is leading the pack with 30 traffic violations. And I realized that I failed to give Wayne Miller's count, which is 20, and that seems pretty paltry next to Mark's. Better step on it, Reg.
Whoa.
Literally. Once again, I've never known so many people who have so many traffic violations. Is there an I'm above the law gene? In 2020,
Damn, there's KK, thank you. Desiree, welcome back, thank you.
Mark, along with two partners, neither of whom are John Paul, but one is ham-loving Craig, opened 88 Keys Piano Bar. Mark really enjoys piano bars. In January of 2024, Mark received his student pilot's license, air pilot, not maritime. On April 24th, 2024, Solid Rock Church purchased a 2007 Cirrus SR-22 single-engine four-seat airplane. There have been rumors that the plane was donated by Tom Winslow. That is not true. The rumor was started because someone saw that Tom had been appointed to the State Pilotage Commission, but they governed maritime pilots, not air pilots. The gentleman who sold the plane to the church lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and had purchased the plane from an aviation company in 2020. I don't know how much Solid Rock paid for this particular plane, but similar ones sell for between $330,000 and $400,000. On the airplane's registration with the FAA, Solid Rock Ministries is listed as the owner, but the address is Mark Kaufman's home address. Well, that does not seem accurate. Why not use the church's address? I have theories. The first is that Mark bought the plane but didn't want to pay taxes on it. JP agreed to putting it in the church's name as long as he was able to say that the church owned it and he'd get to use it so it would look like he was a much fancier pastor than he really is.
Ooh, busted.
The second theory is that John Paul bought the plane for Mark. But why would he buy such an expensive gift for someone who had to be hounded into being his friend? What could Mark have done to deserve such a gift? My third theory is... Just kidding, I don't actually have a third theory. Does anyone have any alternate theories as to why the church's plane is registered under Mark's home address? I will have a video of Nick the... No, that's too easy of a nickname. Anyway, I'll have the video of Nicholas up soon.
Oh my God.
I have no first-hand knowledge of Tom Winslow or Mark Kaufman being investigated for any crime. Robert Lochel is going to court in August for the assault charges. I don't know of any other charges or any investigations where he is a person of interest. They are all innocent until proven guilty, even though Bobby is on video and has already admitted to the police that he sprayed the protesters. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and share as this will help my channel grow. Until next time, stay safe and be happy.
Amen, Agatha May. Y'all, do me a favor, YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get 200 likes, y'all. Everybody, come on, hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. TikTok, I love you guys. Make sure you do the same thing. Tap the screen like crazy. Let's get 25,000 likes. Hit the little follow button. Hit the little follow button. And thank you for the hand hearts, Anji. Very sweet of you, y'all. Thanks for supporting the show. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate it. All right, let's get some not by sight news, y'all. Here we go. Make sure you follow him as well. Link is in the description for all of these videos.
Continuing to keep you updated on the Mica Francis and John Paul Miller case, it looks like moves are being made as well. This has been going on now. I've been covering this case since the end of April. But Regina Ward, the lawyer, the attorney representing Mica's family, is filing all sorts of motions right now in court. We're going to get into what some of those motions are. Also, we're going to talk about how all of a sudden JP is becoming very concerned with the Dare to Care, remember, Missions Act that Mica was a part of. She wanted to provide, she wanted to, get the school started there in Africa. And of course, that whole operation came under fire. The pastor there saying that JP didn't provide a dime to that effort that Mica was trying to do. But now all of a sudden, JP trying to raise all this money for Dare to Care. But is there more behind it? Well, we're going to talk about that. And also, speaking of money, because, well, with the amount of people that are, abandoning ship here, the rock is not as solid, I guess, as they once thought, because, yeah, looks like the tides and all that are drying up at Solid Rock. And JP may have another way of raising money in the form of now a pay-per-view interview. A pay-per-view interview. That's right. Where you can, and we're going to talk about it, but where you can now listen to JP if you just pay $2.69. We're going to get more into that.
What the hell?
Here in a little bit. But also, Tricia Ross, somebody who was, well, quite active on social media, especially on her Facebook account, but now all of a sudden, the account has gone private. So what is going on? We're going to talk about all of this and more in just a moment. But before we do that, I want to welcome all of you to Not By Sight News. Yes, a blind Christian guy here reporting to you, reminding you as always that we walk by faith, not by sight. For someone like me, that's kind of my only option. Speaking of that, for those interested, you want to know my story. How did I go blind? How do I operate my entire ministry without being able to see? I made a video that explains it all. You will find a link to that in the description section of all my videos. And if you really, really enjoy what I do here, you appreciate my work, and you like to contribute with a donation to help me out, I'd appreciate that too. A lot of work goes into this, guys, preparing to do these videos, especially as someone that is not able to physically see. I got to do things differently than sighted people, but it's something that I take great pride in, the work that I do. So, if you're able to contribute and help me out with the donation, a few different ways you could do that. One, by hitting the super thanks button on the YT video, or join my Patreon for as little as $5 a month, patreon.com/notbysightnews, link in the description. You guys want to get access to all of these videos before they hit the main YT platform. Well, when you join my Patreon, that's exactly what you're going to get, along with a bunch of other cool features. I hope you'll check it out and join me. Again, it's patreon.com/notbysightnews. Big thank you to everybody already contributing, and those thinking of doing so, thank you as well. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. All right, let's get into this because we got some things to discuss here. I'm going to get into Regina Ward here, and also JP, this whole pay-per-view interview deal, Tricia Ross. Yeah, we got so much to cover, and it all really ties in with one another. Now, let me start off here with Dare to Care. Oh, we're also going to talk about Robert Lochel, of course, the congregant there at Solid Rock who was arrested and charged with third-degree assault for the whole sprinkler incident that took place at Solid Rock back on June 30th. We'll get into a little bit of that, too. Let's talk about these JP videos, because
Dana,
he put out not one, but two videos talking about, the Dare to Care missions work there in Africa to start the school. And it was strange, because the first video that he put out came on a very interesting date. That date being July 8th. What's the significance of July 8th? Well, it turns out that July 8th was also the same date that Robert Lochel was arrested. Now, he turned himself in, and, remember I covered at the time the police had said that they were going to supposedly arrest him after the conclusion of the Solid Rock service that took place on Sunday, July 7th, but then they went back on that and they said that, well, he's an 81-year-old frail old man, and if he has a medical emergency, we're going to be in some trouble with that. And so we talked to him. He's going to turn himself in the following day on the 8th. Robert Lochel is not 81. He's not frail. He's 67. But somehow police thought the guy was 81. Is that because they were talking to JP a lot during the that day, the service that took place on the 7th? Maybe. I don't know. Just seems weird to me. So Loehle did turn himself in. He was arrested, got a conditional bond. He's not going to serve prison time. But his next court date is scheduled for later in August. I believe it's August 14th. And he's being represented by JP's own attorney, Russell B. Long. Very interesting there. A lot of talk, too, about the connections between Loehle and JP, that JP had allegedly helped Loehle out with some funds that he was needing because of certain medical issues that he was going through. I guess he didn't have insurance. So there are some ties apparently there with the two of them. And, we've talked before about how whoever's left at Solid Rock, it might be because JP has something on these people and they feel like they have to be loyal to him. That's why you're not seeing them abandon ship. So that might be a tie there between Loehle and JP. So Loehle turns himself in. Now, if he's, convicted of this, he's going to be facing over $5,000 in fines because he's getting charged like $1,087 for each charge for each individual from the protest that filed the complaint against him from getting sprayed with the water. So we'll see if he ends up having to pay for that. But also on July 8th, Tom Winslow, JP's other good buddy, got served by Regina Ward. Uh-oh. Again, all on July 8th. Winslow's involvement in this. There's been a lot of talk about that as well. He may too potentially be under FBI investigation. So Regina Ward making moves. Again, those two things on the 8th. She serves Tom Winslow, and then Loehle gets arrested, and then JP makes the video that he does about Dare to Care. Is that a coincidence that he put out this video the same day that Winslow gets served, that Loehle gets arrested? I don't think so, because what's the focus on right now?
Fundraising. We need this money. We need thousands of dollars, $300 per kid. Good point.
It's on the money, right? FBI investigating Solid Rock's, assets and everything. Where's all the money going? We heard again. Did the actual money that was raised for the Africa missions for Dare to Care actually go to them? Not according to Africa's pastor. I believe it's Pastor Jumba, I believe his name is. I might have that wrong. I apologize if I do. But the church also had this spaghetti dinner where they were raising money again for Dare to Care, but I guess they never got it.
I want spaghetti.
Remember, Pastor Jumba, he came to Solid Rock. It was just a few weeks before Mica's passing. So all of a sudden now, JP is going back with Dare to Care, talking about how, yes, we're going to be sending, trainers out there soon to work with the teachers. They're hoping to get the school up in August. $300, to sponsor one of these kids. He talked about how, he's never really been a fan of missions. He says that was more of Mica's deal, but that, he is more of a teacher. That's, his role and everything. But all of a sudden, just again, doing the good work, talking about sponsoring a child, how, many of these kids have, different diseases and everything. And so you'll be doing a great work. Now, that was just one video, okay? That was just one. He put out a second video 2 days later on July 10th. Again, talking about Dare to Care, thanking, according to him, various churches that have also now come in and contributed money to this. I don't know about that, okay? I don't know who is going to be partnering with Solid Rock. He could just be saying that. Remember, this is the same guy in JP who said that people are reaching out to him from all over the world, talking to him about their mental health and what an inspiration. Come on.
Yeah, that's crazy as hell.
I know. Are you serious? So again, you got to take this all, with a grain of salt. He's trying to portray himself now as this good guy because, how can you be mad at somebody who's helping to raise money for these kids in Africa, right? Is he trying to better his image? Of course he is. It's all about optics. I mean, who wants to touch this guy right now? I mean, this case has gained international attention. International attention. Right? He ain't looking good right now. Everything that has come out. But all of a sudden now we see the shift, right? What's changed with the videos? All of a sudden now, he's not calling out Mica's family anymore. That had been basically the main theme for every single video that he did, was blaming Mica's family for her death, right? Taking all these, shots at them and talking about I have the proof and no one's seen it. But now it's well, God bless you all. Thank you all so much for helping out with Dare to Care. This is what Mica was all about.
This is what I was saying last night. It just seems so weird that there was that big shift from like, look at all this. I've got 300. And now it's like, well, we're going to try to send 75 kids to the thing. And if you want to come, you can. $3,000.
Again, God bless you. We're doing great.
He needs some milk.
Work here. We'll keep providing you updates. Oh, he's changing it up all of a sudden. Because I think he has to. And again, he says claiming he's raising all this money. But is this money now really going to go towards Africa and Dare to Care? Is it? He claims it is. But is that really the case? Or has the church now lost so much money, again, because of everybody that is left, that, well, they have no other choice but to do this and try to get some money back in their... Is Pastor Juma going to get this money? I don't know. Or does it also have the optics of it that shows, FBI investigators that are going to come to him at some point and be like, okay, what's up with Dare to Care? Here's what we found. And then he can turn around and say, oh, look, see, we're raising the money. See, look, money right here. We're doing it. Again, look at the timing. July 8th, all this stuff that went down. Then he puts out this video. My opinion, I don't think it's a coincidence. I just don't think it's a coincidence at all. Not one bit. He also, by the way, mentioned Robert Lochel in that last video that he did on July 10th. And he was basically dismissing what happened to the protesters and, with the sprinkler and saying, oh, they would have, I needed a shower that day anyway. They would have went to the beach and, gotten into the water. And so he was, talking about people helping Lochel for attorney fees. I mean,
yeah, that's crazy as hell. Assault's assault, bruh.
It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But look, these protests are going to continue out there at the church. They're going to continue. They're not going away, okay? They're not going away. I know they had barricades out there, police barricades. There's more of probably the heaviest influence of police that's been out there since this whole started. And I expect that's going to continue going forward. I just hope that things can continue, I hope things can remain peaceful, especially, on the part of, the protesters, because I do believe that those at Solid Rock are really going to try to bait them into doing something that could cause a lot of problems. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll have to wait and see how that situation continues to develop. All right, let me get to the next point here. I got to mention this because, again, speaking of money, and look, and people got to understand, JP, he's not liquid, right? We know about the assets, over $5.5 million with the church properties, but again, that's not liquid, okay? So no doubt he's hurting for some money right now. And then this piece of news comes out that JP has decided to do this pay-per-view interview where he's partnering with this channel. I believe it's on TikTok. I think it's on TikTok. And they're charging people $2.69 to watch the interview. Now, I guess the channel is claiming that the money is not going to JP, but going instead to their son. And again, this is just allegedly what I've heard. I don't really know. But
going to JP's son?
I find it hard to believe. I just find it hard to believe, and some of you may too, that JP is going to do any sort of an interview that's not going to benefit him in some way where he's not going to get a cut of that, okay? Look, again, this is an international case. Are people going to pay the $2.69? Absolutely, they'll pay it. Of course they will. Of course they will. They're going to want to know what he's going to say, and I'm sure at some point I'll do a recap of it. It'll get put out there at some point, and we'll talk about it. But now going behind a paywall, okay, is this his way, again, of trying to get some money here? Because, again, people that have left Solid Rock, that money's not coming anymore. I take it back to what he said on that April 28th service. If you remember, this is something that I always go back to because it's very important to note. Remember, he talked about how they're not going to do an altar call that day, but what he did say was make sure that you continue to come to the church and make sure you continue to give.
Yep, that's the true crime and Megan. What you doing? You were in a video we were watching last night. Shay Zane or something like that. Shane. It's the live stream from yesterday on YouTube. She was watching your video. We give you a shout out.
Okay. That was said.
I'll make sure you follow True Crime with Megan right there. Oh, thanks for the hand heart too. Thanks, hon.
By design, because he knew of everything that was probably going to be coming out. This guy was going to need some money. Look at all the lawyers. He's got like 4 lawyers representing him. All that stuff adds up. Not to mention his court battles with his ex-wife, Allison Williams. It's not just Mica, in the case there with the estate. There is a lot on the line here. And so he's probably trying to do everything he can to cook up ways to make money. I'll do interviews behind a paywall. That's going to garner interest. People want to know what I have to say. I'm not going to let them hear it for free. You're going to have to pay for it. Okay? So, pay-per-view interview. What do you guys think about that? You can let me know in the comments section. And again, we'll do a review. We'll do a recap of it when a transcript or something like that comes out about what was said. Now you wonder too, behind a paywall, is he going to be a little bit more off the cuff? We already saw him take aim at Mica's family. What sort of a message is he going to want to talk about on that platform behind a paywall? Is it? Because again, if you're wanting to present evidence, I don't think going behind a paywall and doing it that way is the way to go, because you want everybody to see it. The whole goal here is for him to prove that he is completely without any blame in this case whatsoever, that he is innocent. He's done nothing wrong, right? It's all Mica's family's fault. If that's what he wants to prove, I don't know why he would be doing it behind a paywall. But again, only if the money is dried up now so much that he's just desperate and has no other real option here other than to do it. So we'll see what comes out of that. Next point I want to bring up is, in fact, new court filings by Regina Ward.
Yep.
These were filed on July 5th, and it's very interesting because what she filed is known as a lis pendens, okay? A lis pendens. Now, this involves property that may, in fact, become a part of this case later on down the road. Now, what Regina Ward is saying here with this lis pendens filing is that, and again, a judgment may or may not be made on it, but the fact that there is a potential that it could come up, this is why she is doing this, because it's about the marital assets, right? JP trying to claim that, the church estate and all of that none of that has anything to do with Mica, even though Mica worked as the church's creative director, right? That's part of marital assets. She should be a part of that as part of the estate. And that is what Regina Ward is saying here in the filing. So again, you got the current church property, Solid Rocket Market Comet, and then also the new location where they were going to be building, putting up the new building. Obviously, I don't think that's going to be taking place anymore. So all of those assets, they add up to over, close to $5.5 million. And so what this does, this lis pendens, is basically it puts a lien on it. It kind of freezes the assets here, and it will prevent JP from being able to sell them, right? In light of everything that's going on with this case, to try, just let's get this out here, let's sell the assets and all of that. So yeah, no, it'll put a temporary hold on that as this case continues. Now he would have the ability to file a motion to have that revoked. Now we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen that at all, but I do believe that Regina Ward probably thinks that at some point he may try and do that, try to sell this off. So that way, again, Mica's family wouldn't, get any of this part of this estate. But we'll wait and see on that. So those motions have been filed. And again, and she put those out there on July 5th. Now, also, I have an update for you as far as a new court date for when JP filed the motion to seal the court documents. Okay, remember, he wanted everybody to know about, the evidence that he had and everything, but then he went ahead and filed the motion to keep everything sealed. Regina Ward, she shot back at that, and nope, the family does not want the court documents sealed. And so that court date is scheduled for September 18th. So that's going to be big. Okay, don't get it twisted. That result is going to be huge, because if a judge actually goes with it and agrees to have this sealed, I don't think, honestly, that's not going to benefit anybody. And it's really not going to help JP's case at all by trying to keep these things hidden. I know when they originally filed the motion, their excuse and their reason for doing this was, because they were, trying to keep all the innocent parties out of this, including JP's own kids and everything. But then again, he lost custody of their two youngest, Tim and Allison, because Allison said that, well, the kids basically aren't safe around him. So, I don't really know if that's going to hold up or not. I don't think they'll be sealed, but we're going to have to wait and see how that all shakes out. Let me wrap up with this with Tricia Ross. I'll mention this really quick because, we've talked a lot about her throughout this case. Of course, she's JP's right hand, right?
I've seen people talking about that, but I don't know if he had or if there was life insurance on Mica. I don't know.
She's been with him since
anybody know
2007. We know that Ross has her own criminal past for fraud in the that she's been involved. You notice how JP surrounds himself with these people that all have kind of a criminal past. Just interesting. But we know that JP had also allegedly been paying Tricia's bills, keeping her afloat. And the problem now is that with the church money drying up, is he able to continue to provide Tricia with whatever it is that she needs? Because people have said that they don't believe that Tricia will ever turn on JP, that she would even go to prison for this guy. I don't know. I really don't know, because if the money is drying up and he can't get her whatever he was giving her before, if the FBI comes up to her and they say, hey, look, we got these questions. We think you have the answers here. You can help us bring this guy down. This will help save you. She might do it. A lot of things can change. When you're put in that position, you're put in the hot seat, so to speak, and they come up to you and they start asking you and they want to make a deal and all that, will she fold? Remember, this is somebody who lost her family. Again, choices that she made, right? She can't see her grandkids and everything. And we've heard that's because of JP and her allegiance to him. But now Tricia Ross has gone silent because she used to be somebody that was a frequent poster on Facebook, putting out posts all the time and putting her narrative out there, but no longer. Her Facebook page has now been made private. And I don't think that is a coincidence at all. Right? Again, the FBI investigation, she might think now, you know what? I got to stop talking. Remember she put that post out? I talked about it. It was about a week or so ago where she talked about how she was almost trying to compare herself a little bit to a victim of mistreatment. And she talked about how she was mistreated in past relationships, but she stood up to it. And she was trying to be like the big hero for mistreatment in relationships. And that if she ever saw any of that stuff going on, she would have put a stop to it. And basically what she was doing was she was trying to clear JP. Everything that Mica claimed about how she was how she was mistreated by JP in the marriage. If Tricia Ross would have seen that, if that would have been legit, she would have confronted JP on that and put a stop to it. Right? I don't think so. And I said from the beginning, I've never said that Tricia Ross didn't get mistreated in the past. Maybe she did, and if she did, that's horrible. That's horrible. But if you're going to be someone that's going to speak out for victims like Mica, well, then actually have the courage to do it. Don't try to say that, well, if you're someone that can speak on this because
gee, thank you. So sweet.
Of what you went through, and if JP was doing it, you would confront him, but you didn't confront him. Because again, he's got something on her. She's in debt to him.
So vanity. As a matter of fact, yes. 4.
But we're going to see, because the cracks are definitely starting to form. I mean, I would argue they've been there for a while. We're at the point now where the solid rock, it ain't so solid, it's shaking, and it may all be coming to an end very, very soon.
Oh, Lord. What do y'all think? Oh, that was it. Oh, man. All right. Well, that does it. That probably does it for tonight, too, y'all. Oh, my God. I am exhausted. I got to get up kind of early tomorrow. So, unfortunately, I had one more, but it's a long one. And I don't know if I have to get to, just that to get up and over the hump. But we'll watch that video tomorrow. And I love you guys. Thanks for being here. YouTube, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. Go back and rewatch some of the live streams that we have. We've got tons of them now, like 2 months almost now worth of live streams. Y'all, justice for Mica. Put a whole bunch of purple hearts everywhere that you see these Mica Francis videos, y'all. Thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow night. Love you guys. YouTube, Rumble. Good night.